I'd like to convene this meeting of the Engineering and Environmental Committee from the San Lorenzo Valley Water District for June 18th, 2024. Jen, will you take the roll, please?
Yes. Mark Smalley.
Here.
Ken Landy.
Yeah.
And Jeff Schmelter.
Here.
And then Jeff Hill is absent. We do have a quorum.
Okay. All right. Good. Oral communications portion of the meeting for any member of the public to bring up an item that's not on the agenda, but within the purview of this committee. Does anybody have anything that they want to address to the committee? I don't have any visibility of anybody online.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. We have two items of new business: the engineering quarterly report and the environmental quarterly report. And I've talked to both of our staff members, and instead of having them introduce this, I would like to assume that everybody has read what is here and in front of us. And instead, I'd like to go ahead and transition to questions. And in the past, it seems to me like sometimes the environmental aspects get short circuited because of, oh, well, it's time. And so I'd like to lead with that this time and start with that. So, gentlemen, what questions do you have on the environmental aspects of things?
I was reading the other one first. So.
Or Jeff?
None off the top of my head. I gotta review to refresh my pre-reading.
Okay. Well, that one, while you two gentlemen are doing that, I have a few questions. The drought status relief grant. In here, I think it says 6 tanks. I thought the other ones it's saying 5. Yes?
6. Well, go ahead, Garrett. Looks like
So the 6th tank is Blue Ridge tank.
that's complete.
Okay. So the grant covers that also?
It dates back to June of 2022.
Okay. So if that aspect of work is complete, can we submit then and get payment on?
We just submitted our first invoice and quarterly report for that grant, so we should be getting payment.
Okay. And what did that tank cost?
I
Just
think it was a little over 1.2.
okay.
You know, off the top of your head.
Okay.
I think when I added it up, direct costs from the contractor around $840,000.
So is it likely then that the grant is not going to cover 6 tanks?
When we budgeted, we did $1 million per tank site.
Right.
And after we're awarding that design contract, it's unlikely that we're gonna be able to complete all 6.
Okay. Okay. So I see that the tanks are prioritized then in whatever with some that are on a lower.
Yeah, some are at different stages. A couple we have either already completed the environmental review or are at least have a contractor on board to begin that work.
Okay.
Ready to go.
And we've completed surveys and we've completed geotechnical investigations.
Okay.
So that would be Redwood Park and Felton Heights.
Right. Okay. I'll continue with my questions then, finish here, and then I can transition to gentlemen. Forest Springs, there's an upcoming grant application.
Yes,
What's
there.
the dollar amount? What's the scope?
Well, we haven't determined that piece yet. It's a state revolving fund grant, which we're also pursuing for the planning aspect of this Forest Springs loan, but there is a construction route that we can also go that we are looking at for maybe filling in the hole for both Brackenbury and Forest Springs together. So where the original DWR grant didn't cover, we're hoping this construction grant money can maybe fill in that gap.
Okay. Okay, good. The Bear Creek Estates update, there's an alternate analysis for that. What's
There's,
that?
so it's a 2020 analysis that we completed and it identified 4 different routes we could go to improve the system to
Right.
meet our compliance. It's now, a few years out of date, and we also have been in talks with the county about them taking over the system. But they
Yeah,
have requested that we bring it to county standard before they would consider doing so.
okay. So we have to do something on it from what the county is telling us, rather than wait for the county to tie it into their system.
They would just take it on earlier than the
Right.
sewer project coming online, which is maybe,
Okay.
10, 15, even 20 years out. So if we could have them take it over sooner, it would be
Right.
beneficial for the district.
Okay. The Loch Lomond feasibility RFP, I see that those were due, submittals were due, what was it, the 10th or? How many did we get?
We got 2 qualified proposals.
Okay,
It's good.
good.
Mhm.
Are they from known entities, i.e. ones that we've done work with?
One is and the other is not.
Or that we recognize?
Mhm.
At least?
Yeah, both are recognized.
Okay,
One has worked with Brian at his former agency,
Okay.
so we know their work.
okay, good. Then we will look forward to hearing about your review on those, then get that part of the work started.
What is that Loch Lomond project?
Um,
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
So
Read this
the
again.
San Jose Valley Water District, we are entitled to an allotment out of the Loch Lomond Reservoir. Loch Lomond Reservoir is actually the city of Santa Cruz's emergency water storage.
Mhm.
It holds 2.8 billion gallons of water, which is equivalent to 1 year's worth of water for the city. Now, my understanding is we gave them some land in the 70s, and proportional with the amount of land that they had and the amount of land we gave them, we're entitled initially to around 500 acre feet. There was a legal issue that came up in the 80s, and we settled for around 300 acre feet per year of raw water allotment. Now, the issue is the water quality from Loch Lomond is not a high quality as the creeks that we get most of our raw water from. So our treatment plant is not able to treat the raw water from Loch Lomond.
Hmm.
So if we want to get that allotment, we would have to upgrade the Kirby treatment plant. Another option is we could try and negotiate a deal with the city of Santa Cruz to buy treated water and maybe get a discount because we are entitled to the raw water allotment.
So you're figuring out what direction to go with that?
So we're doing a feasibility study.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good, thanks.
Yeah. No problem.
On Peavine, you've indicated that the CCC started work last Monday.
They did, yeah. So they arrived at Camp Creme, they're all set up. And they have now cleared the access route to the pipeline alignment. So they formed a route from Camp Creme so they can hike themselves in with their equipment.
Okay,
So, yeah. Moving
Good.
ahead.
good. And who from staff monitors or checks in with them? And
Chris Klyer, our environmental planner, has
Okay.
been working pretty closely
Good.
with both of our
That sounds like
consultants
a
who are then
good use
overseeing
of-
the
yeah.
CCCs.
Okay. Let's see, on Huckleberry Island. We're still waiting to complete the easements with and I'm willing to bet if I looked back at a similar committee report from a year ago or from 14 or 16 months ago, it would say the same thing. It seems to me like we've been stalled at this point for, is there something? Is there neighbors there?
Yes, and then Garrett, you might want to jump in,
That-
but we
Sure.
just complete the.
So we've hired an appraiser. The appraiser has produced a value of the easement. Now we have to get the 14 neighbors that collectively own the bridge to sign off on the easement and agree to the compensation.
And how long have we been at that point?
We just received the appraisal a week ago.
Weeks
Oh,
ago
okay,
or so.
okay.
Do you know roughly how much that is for
The total appraisal was about 8,000.
Yeah,
for our easement rights?
8,000 divided by 14. Yeah. Okay. I thought we had this appraisal aspect quite a while ago, but okay. All right.
So do we know if they're gonna accept that? Or you're still proposing that?
We are still proposing it. I'm in the process of drafting the letter to each homeowner. But they do have to be notarized. So we're going to ask them to either come into the office or hold a day where we have our district secretary on site to notarize each letter.
Cool.
Good. And do you have any take on, do all 14 have to agree, or is there, if we get 12 out of,
Right, so we've talked with legal a little bit about this.
Uh-huh.
We're hoping, everyone signs off with
Yeah,
it and understands, this is an important project for their neighborhood and for the district as a
Right.
whole. If that does happen, we could potentially go through eminent domain.
Yeah.
We prefer to avoid that.
I don't wanna,
So
okay. So
there
you
are
have that.
other avenues of
Right.
securing the easement, but ideally we'd work with the homeowners.
And
Okay.
legal seems to think you do need all 14 to sign on
You
to
do
go.
need all 14.
That's
They're
what I
all
would-
equally owning
Yeah,
the bridge.
yeah.
Right. And then I wanted to back up to P9 because I had another question on that. It says that we would do the survey alignment or alignment survey after the CCC does all of their work. And I'm guessing that we couldn't do that concurrently or at some point near the end of the CCC doing, because there's people out there now in the CCC crew. They have to finish their work before we would get a surveyor out there.
I mean, the previous district manager, he indicated that it was an unsafe working condition and that we had to deal with the trees
Right.
before doing the survey.
Right.
I mean, if the surveyor's comfortable going out there, It doesn't-
It should be our call.
Yeah,
Or
so
our
that
call
was
with
the previous direction was to complete the
Right.
tree work and then move
Yeah.
into the survey.
Okay. All I'm trying to do is there any way to move this along because I hear you saying that CCC is waiting for additional work from us, but then I guess we would need to have what's our next step? And is that materials? But okay, never mind on that.
I mean, I would say the next step would be to complete the survey
Yeah,
and then produce engineering plans.
right,
And then we can have a material list where we
Yes.
know how many gate valves,
right.
how many supports
Everything
we
that we
need to
need.
cross drainage features.
Yeah,
We can plan it out.
okay, okay. Well, those are all the questions I have on the environmental aspects. I'll open it up now to Ken.
No comments, other than appreciating Carly's small Gantt chart there.
Where it could do them.
It's- Makes it a lot easier to follow.
Yeah.
Okay, rather than jumping back and forth from all the paragraphs. Also, shows what the plans are looking ahead, time-wise. So more of those would be very appreciated.
Jeff?
I'm interested in the Fall Creek fish ladder and that, I see that you did the revegetation and the sign is being printed. Fence is incoming. Could you tell me like a little bit about the vision for that site
Sure.
more?
Yeah, so we are committed for 5 years to maintain the revegetation that we had to complete as part of the project for our own permitting. Outside of that, we're pursuing a nice iron fence that'll hopefully look good at the project site. And then we'll also have the interpretive sign displayed there, and we're also hoping to put some metal fish, steelhead there. So,
Sweet.
just to
Well,
make
we
it look
have a
little nicer.
design for that fence, right?
We do,
We're
so
going-
we have a quote, we just wanted to get a few additional quotes
Okay,
before
good.
moving ahead.
But we have I saw a design that we,
And they've come out and laid it out now too with Aaron and James as well. in the field.
I haven't been to the fish ladder in like a month or too, maybe, but previously I remember seeing the fence that was there. Maybe it was a construction fence or maybe it's a permanent one, I'm not sure. But I remember thinking that it was like relatively not very functional for security purposes and relatively unattractive as far as a nice, cool, like fish ladder. So I don't know, for what it's worth, I guess I would wonder about what our priorities are about like security
Mhm.
or like what's the function of the fence?
Right, yeah, so it is for security purposes as well. It's going to be 7 feet high, so it would be tall enough to hopefully keep people out.
Can you just go around it?
That's the one area by the bridge crossing. It's a little,
Anyone can access Fall Creek via
From
the
the
trails,
backside.
right?
I could walk down the creek.
we do have
What to-
cameras at the site, so if anyone does trespass, it's caught very quick by our
We
operators.
could catch them at the site,
monitoring.
but if they're upstream
Yeah,
in Fall Creek proper,
yeah, can't do that. Think about that. So what's the function of the fence? What is it securing?
It's just to try to warn people that they're not welcome on the site, and just for insurance purposes
It's to
too.
keep
There's stairs
honest
and
people out.
infrastructure there. Yeah.
That's what a fence like that's for.
Yeah, okay,
You're not gonna stop everybody, particular somebody who is determined.
right,
Even if it was a 8 foot tall chain
right,
link.
right. Well, then I guess then I just hope we're going more on the side of attractive versus secure.
Yeah, and I think it will be very nice looking. It's a more
Cool.
aesthetic.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Anything else, Jeff?
Not at the moment. Oh, yeah, I also was a little bit curious about the Olympia Patrol and watershed trespass.
Mhm.
And that the no trespassing reported. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah,
What that
so
means?
for the Olympia property, we work with the Santa Cruz Land Trust and they do monthly patrols. They have a staff member who walks the property, tells us if they've noticed any, cut gates, any signs down, graffiti, any other issues, and they'll give us a monthly report based on that. As far as the watershed, the greater watershed, that was typically reported by either our operations staff or our erosion control specialist, Stephen Butler, who is now retired. So that is a gap that we'll need to fill. Someone to just make sure that people aren't going through our gates or cutting, locks off to get into our properties and those types of issues.
Cool, thank you.
Was this erosion control specialist somebody we hired or a volunteer who?
No, he was a contractor for us.
Oh, okay.
Stephen Butler was also our registered professional forester on a lot of our projects.
Okay.
He's very well known in our community.
Right.
Has now retired, so I think that there's a large gap there for a lot of different agencies.
Okay. All right. Is that it, Jeff?
Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Any questions from members of the public on the environmental items that are here?
Hi, I'm Bruce Holloway from Boulder Creek. When you were talking about the $4.5 million grant for the 6 tanks, that discussion went by pretty quickly, so I didn't quite, it sounded like it wasn't gonna cover everything. And so I just was trying to get a little more clarity on that. It sounds like you still get the $4.5 million, it's just not gonna pay for all 6 tanks, is that the idea?
Right, so we did have a match associated with that grant, which was at 2 million. So we had planned for $1 million per tank site. And then, we're not at the stage where we have bids, so we hopefully will come in under that, but with the cost that we've received recently on proposals, it's not looking great to stay
It's
within
not gonna
that
cover
budget.
all 6.
Correct.
Okay, so when you said, I think I misunderstood what you just said, something like an amount of 2 million?
Right, there is a match that we have to
A
provide
match.
for the state. So when they award money, usually you offer some type of match to show your commitment to the projects.
It's usually 50-50, but this is less.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean, that's an awesome amount of money. I remember the Intertie project 10 years ago was about that much money. It was half of the Intertie project, so that's a pretty amazing amount of money to get for so much construction. And then my other question is about FEMA. There's something here about FEMA and then the Aptin Consulting, and that was on the board agenda last week. And there's this huge amount of $16 million that the district is expecting from FEMA. That's what's in the board packet. And so I'm trying to understand, I've heard descriptions that say that FEMA's gonna pay 90% of a certain project or something like that. And I guess I'm thinking, the way I originally understood the way FEMA usually works is you can get 50% from the federal government, from FEMA, and then another 25% from the state, which is Cal OES, I guess. And then I don't know how you get to 90%. I just don't know how that works. But I'm trying to understand when we're talking about FEMA, like when the district says we're expecting $16 million from FEMA, that includes both Cal OES paying a share of that.
That's correct. Yes. So when we're referring to FEMA funding, it's both the Cal OES and FEMA cost share. The 90% was for the CZU fires disaster. That one was actually upped by the state and federal government to be a 90% cost share instead of
That
the 75,
particular disaster.
just for that disaster. So
And
the
so-
2023 is the typical 75 cost share.
Okay, and so for the CZU damage, does that work out to be 25% state and 65% federal, adding up to 90?
That's a good question. I'm not sure how they divided it up
Maybe
between
it's 30,
FEMA.
60.
That would be a good question for Aptum. I'm not sure on that. I can find that information out.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I don't see anybody online with questions. Okay, then we'll do the same thing on, oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Karen,
quite all right. I'm Karen Brown, north of Boulder Creek, and I notice in here that we have the Corps of Engineers removing our trees that are along the PV pipeline. And I thought we lost them as part of our tree removal when we agreed to hiring the company that is going to install the pipeline. And I see they're still here, the California Conservation Corps engineers for removing those trees.
Yes.
And I thought we lost them when we accepted that bid of the $99,000 to put in the pipeline.
No, I believe
That was
that.
at one of the meetings.
Yeah, I believe the $90,000 contract was for the actual environmental consultants to do the compliance work. So to meet CEQA and any of our other federal state permitting requirements. And then the CCC crews are actually the on the ground crews who are mitigating the trees. So any of the trees that were damaged during the fire, they're going out there and lock and scattering will be the treatment to the trees. So just to make sure that the full pipeline is cleared, to allow for the surveys to be completed and then hopefully the construction after that.
Very good. I love seeing all this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, transitioning to the engineering report. I'll go with the same format. I'll ask my questions first and see if I can quickly get through these. I see in several of the items that pavement is pending the Felton Quarry being open for hot asphalt.
Yes.
Is there something where they might not open? Do we have an alternate, or do the contractors, because the contractors are responsible for the paving, right? Do the contractors not have access to an alternate source? That we can say, go get asphalt from?
Olive Springs.
So the Felton Quarry was supposed to be open on May 1st.
Yeah,
And then they had a delay. They said they were gonna open on June 1st.
yeah.
And then they were gonna open on the 17th. And then on the 13th, I got another letter saying they would be opening up on the 24th. Now, we have received a change order proposal to change the location of the hot mix to Aromas. Now, if you get the hot mix from Aromas, you have to take Highway 1, which is a considerable drive with the construction. They're doing a pedestrian bridge over Highway 1 between Soquel and 41st Avenue.
Are we obligated to entertain a change order for where the contractor gets asphalt? Because did we in our contract say, and you can assume that you get it from Felton Quarry, or did the contractor say that?
I mean, we have an approved submittal for the hot mix from Felton Quarry.
I understand that. I understand that. If this is holding up project completion, can we go back and look at the contract, see if,
We can pursue liquidated damages if they exceed contract time.
well, I don't know what the contract time is, but if we're at a point of, okay, we've been waiting now for you to put your asphalt down, Mr. Contractor. I don't care where you're getting it from, but I understand the contractor's gonna have their hand out for, well, that's not where I was counting on getting it, so I need a change, I need more money from you to. But are we obligated to entertain that? Did we specify anything? So I'm not looking for the answer on this here. If it opens up on the 24th, hey, all well and good, go get the asphalt there then. But if this delay continues, look at the contract, what are we obligated for to get it done? So,
Okay.
okay. On Brookside Drive, what's the status of, it sounds from what you're describing here that our staff is going to be able to do work
Correct.
there. So we're going to be able to put in a new, better line for them.
Operations staff is installing the new main.
And a 2-inch, a 4-inch,
8-inch.
8-inch.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the minimum size per district
Okay.
standards.
So they're able to excavate,
Yeah,
lay.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Should represent substantial cost savings for the district. One, we
Yeah.
did the engineering plans in-house.
Yeah.
Two, we're getting
This is-
discount on the materials.
This is great news that we're able to go this direction. And are the homeowners saying,
Hallelujah.
or are they at least saying, hey, we're satisfied rather than hallelujah? That
They are thrilled that we're gonna be able to get the pipeline in there and then they're gonna be able to pave their road.
okay. Are they, do they have a sunset date from their contractor, whoever that is, if they've got to get started by? Or are they flexible to work with us to let us get this? Because construction projects never get delayed with us, do they? I'm glad you were laughing at that. Okay, then
We are working with the neighbors to complete the pipeline project as fast as we can and they will pave following the completion
okay,
of our
Okay.
main line.
so they're flexible, somewhat flexible then to schedule, and they're aware of
Yes,
and wanting us to get the work done. Okay,
yes.
Good, good.
We're working with Chris Keller. Do you know him?
Yes. Yeah. I've seen him here at a couple.
Yeah, came
couple
on
of
August 3rd.
meetings. Okay,
Excuse me, Mark. They're out there now, digging.
I think they
Good.
started yesterday, didn't they?
Good.
They're working.
good. Okay, I think that's all the questions that I had for now on the engineering aspects. Ken?
I'm having trouble keeping up. My hearing isn't that great and being on the end here, I'm missing about 80% of it, so.
Oh, okay. Next
we'll-
time,
we'll
next
finish.
time,
Happy to switch.
I was gonna ask.
we'll
later. I
put
was
your
gonna
name
wait
over there.
in the middle.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh,
That's why I've been sitting here with my finger in my ear. It makes the hearing aids work better. It's not that I'm holding myself up.
Mhm.
Jeff?
The only thing I picked up on, I noticed that apparently the quarry's been closed.
Yes.
That explains why it's been so damn quiet up by me. I live right off San Lorenzo Avenue.
Not
and I didn't register. Gee, I haven't heard the trucks. After being there for 40 years, you ignore them, but, okay. Just curious, is there a reason given why it's closed?
They're refurbishing the quarry, so the conveyor belts and the machines that they need.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
And I don't
Having
know,
read most of this in advance, it looks like it's very good, very well presented.
Yeah.
And obviously not knowing all the intimate details that are behind all those sentences, it's hard to comment. So,
Jeff?
no particular more questions at this time. Looks, I agree, like, I appreciate all the updates.
Okay. All right. And I do have one or two others. The Foreman Pipeline Trail Rehab. What's the contract status on that? Because I thought we had a contractor
Correct.
for that work, but we're,
So the design was completed. We went out to bid. The bid was awarded in November
yeah,
2022 to McGuire Hester. The atmospheric river events of New Year's Eve 2022 and March 2023 caused a landslide on the Foreman Access Trail. Due to the landslide,
okay,
McGuire Hester alerted the district that certain portions of the work would not be able to be completed due to safety concerns for personnel.
Yeah.
We went back to the design firm, asked them to revise the scope of work to eliminate the area of work where the contractor indicated would be unsafe.
right,
We got the engineer's estimate of probable construction costs. It was under $200,000. When we got the revised pricing, it was over $500,000. So we had a meeting with the contractor, asked them for their best and final, and they said they couldn't work with us. So we told them we were not ready to proceed on the contract. And that's the current status of it. They indicated they would be compiling any additional costs they need to send to the district to get out of the contract. You know, they have bonds, insurance, different things to get before they even buy the material, before they even get started, which they are entitled to. So far, they have not sent the district anything.
Okay.
And ultimately, we'll need to decide if we want to restore the trail at the landslide, if we want to let it be, if we want to do an alternative of maybe seeding the area, maybe some drainage improvements to control the water. Ultimately, the water is what's causing the issues.
yeah. Yeah, but the pipeline is okay.
The pipeline
for now.
is functioning.
Right.
It's buried. It's on the mountain side. The failure is obviously on the
downslope side.
On the downslope side.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right. And for Peavine, you mentioned eventually doing the engineering design, and you alluded to that a bit before. Is that something that we're going to be able to do in-house? Engineering design?
My background is a design engineer, and it would be my pleasure to design the Peavine raw water pipeline.
If you have the time.
If I have the time and I have support of the general manager and the board, then I'll do it.
Okay. Cool. Okay. That's all the questions that I've got. I'll open it up to members of the public. Ms. Brown?
Karen Brown, I'm in north of Boulder Creek. I'm very interested in the fact that we've had to tear up our road out here in front of the district office 3 times now from this water line leaking as they continue to repair it. Are we having to pay for each and every new repair as a ratepayer, or is there some kind of clause in your contract with these people that they are to fix any repairs that they have not done sufficiently to maintain the water pressure? Thank you.
So the recent activity here is to repair sort of a semi-unrelated, it's related and unrelated. There was a valve that was leaky. And it happened because of the leak, the initial leak, but it was, I believe it was either we tried to exercise it and it started leaking, and so we left it, and so we were just getting around to fixing it. So that's what happened. So no, there isn't like an issue of like contractor, the district incurring any additional costs that wasn't already contemplated. So that's it.
And I,
So no guarantees? We don't do the work right, we pay for it?
Oh, no, I mean, there's that, of course, yes. But it's not, this work isn't some offshoot of not doing work right in the first place. It's just, there was another, something else sprung a leak as a result of doing all this stuff that we're doing. I mean, the way that I liken it is we're doing open heart surgery on our system right now. And there's gonna be certain things, there's gonna be repercussions here and there that pop up. And this is just putting out one of those, just dealing with it. So it wasn't anything that somebody else broke, it broke. But no, they didn't break it, and the ratepayers aren't fixing it, something that somebody else did.
Okay.
from my perspective, Karen, we're dealing with old pipe. When you touch this portion of an old pipe
Yeah, that portion.
and you're inadvertently doing this 20 feet back, it's causing, and you don't know that until you repressurize the system, and you don't. So
So how many times are we gonna pay for this area to be repaired? We don't know.
But it's hard to say, because
Yeah.
all this stuff is underground,
Yes.
and it's a cobbling of a bunch of old systems. But trust me, if I don't pull out a lot of hair and do what I need to do to kind of try to contain any of these reverberations in the system. So we work hard at that. But it's there is some growing pains that are going along with it. But that was a very old rotten piece of section of pipe with a valve in it. But it's like we can't, those valves, it's risky to try to exercise them if they already, then you could blow a leak. And then you're gonna shut everybody off again. It's better to just fix it. And have it be planned. So that's what happened. So it's a planned exercise.
So you're exercising the valves, and you put too much pressure on an old pipe, because the new pipe is holding better?
Not necessarily like that, it's just that there's a weak link, and it's like, yeah, a little repressurization maybe caused that to leak as well. And it's like, we just got done with the one repair, so we left it. I also wanted to make sure we got enough quotes on the repair, so we were getting the best price we could. For someone to come out and fix it.
okay. Any other questions from members of the public?
I guess I'm just following this conversation. So the ultimate fix is in the future, or is that going on now?
We're repairing it right now, correct?
Okay. Anybody online? Okay. I don't know that we have anything else to go over then. Brian, anything else to share or present? We've gone over both reports.
Pardon me?
I said we've gone over both the environmental and the engineering department reports.
Yeah, we don't have any, staff doesn't have anything else at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for the completeness of the reports. You've heard that from the other two committee members here, and I'll say it myself also. So good. Thank you.
Great,
Okay. All right. Meeting is adjourned then.
great. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.